Legends in the building. Like, comment, and subscribe. So today we're going to talk about Anthony Joshua and former super middleweight champion, now Hall of Famer, Carl The Cobra Froch. Now it seems that Froch has always had something to say about Joshua, and I don't know if it is like bitterness, or if he doesn't like Joshua, or if he is a bit envious of his success, because some of the things that Froch has actually said about Joshua and his time with him in I think it's the Sheffield Institute of Sport, he sheds a bit of light onto his relationship with Joshua. And in a sense, because he's older, he's kind of like a big brother kind of thing, where you're giving the younger brother like advice. And I think Joshua kind of respects him. That's why he's never really ever actually said anything really bad. But I think up to now, all the vitriol and all the back flack that Joshua gets, I think it's just kind of, he's had enough. And at this point, he was the former heavyweight champion of the world, the former unified heavyweight champion of the world twice as well. So there is that aspect of it as well. And from a media standpoint, he always tries to do what he thinks is the right way of doing things and speaking the right way. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and I don't think it diminishes his character in any way. But the thing is once you deviate from a sort of way of being, people tend to not react well to it. So now that he's been more vocal and saying stuff, you know, there's a bit of pushback. But anyway, we're going to look at these clips here, and then we're going to like get back into it. So with no further ado.
About opinions, but someone who has been vocal for ages about you, and I don't think you've responded, is Carl Froch. He questioned your legacy and things like that. Do you have any response to that, or what is the relationship like with Carl?
I don't really communicate with Carl outside of... I don't really communicate with Carl. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. Like you are. Like I gave my opinion. Who's to say what's right or wrong? But Froch is entitled to his opinion. Whether you agree with it, whether you don't agree with it, is your choice.
So the first clip there, Anthony Joshua just kind of addresses some questions that he gets asked in this interview, and you can tell by the facial expressions and the way he answered the question, there is some kind of like feeling towards Carl Froch. I don't know if it's grudging or if it's like bitterness, but I think he wants to say more, but because Froch has not been that derogatory, he can't. But like, he knows Froch in a middle way, so I think he's just giving back what he can. But like prior to this, words were said about Rob McCracken, and basically looking at the state of Carl Froch's nose. So that's why he never rated Rob McCracken as a great trainer, and he, you know, his defense, you didn't teach him defense. So that's what he said in a prior interview when asked if he compared Derek James's coaching abilities towards Rob McCracken's. But anyway, in this next clip here, we're going to listen to Carl Froch and his thoughts on Anthony Joshua's words, and he's going to give his criticism and his opinions on Anthony Joshua. So no further ado.
My points made and raised about Anthony Joshua, who, by the way, gave this lovely piece of artwork that's I'm carrying around on my face, my nose. He gave it a bit of stick the other day. It didn't upset me. I can't say it without laughing. It didn't upset me, and people think I get upset. I don't. You can call me and slag me off all you want. I've got real thick skin. I've got rhino skin. You can't hurt me. I'm like Teflon. I worked on building sites most of my life, even whilst I was boxing. And I run building sites now. I'm in the property game. A lot of you know that I'm quite heavily invested in property. I'm doing new builds now and redevelopments and just flipping over stuff. But anyway, I spend a lot of time on building sites. And as soon as you walk on site, people take the piss out of you. Whether it's your hair, your face, your nose, what clothes you're wearing, and it just bounces off you. Because if you bite and if you get upset, then you get writ off even more. So anyway, You can't hurt me or upset me. And like I said yesterday on TalkSport, I sincerely hope he's talking about my old nose that I used to use as a battering ram. And you had Rob McCracken in your corner. But don't blame Rob McCracken, because you lost the rematch with your new trainer, and now you're talking about Rob never taught you defence, and you've got to make up for time kind of that you've wasted with Rob. And to me, that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I think to myself, it's disrespectful, it's out of order. I said all this yesterday on TalkSport, but I've said what I've said. We're okay with each other. We've got no personal animosity. And like I was about to say then, you know when I see you, like you saw me at ringside when you fought Franklin, you know we've got no personal beef. You know we're going to shake hands and have a good chat. So don't take any of my opinion on you.
So Froch there, he's just being honest, and he's looking at it from a British standpoint of humour and the way we have banter and how we give things and take things. But Froch always has this inflated ego, and we've always noticed this when we come into interaction with Carl Froch, and when he states his accolades and his achievements and how he, you know, fought in Wembley in front of 80,000 people. He always mentions it, always. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you've set the trend for British boxing in a sense and brought it kind of back home in a way where it's become more appealing to the masses, especially British fans, there's nothing wrong with stating your achievements. But there is a bit of egotistical behaviour that's going on with him, because even though he's criticising Joshua, and it is from a truthful standpoint, it's a bit needling, like in the sense that there's a little bit more to it than meets the eye from what Froch says. And maybe what he said about Rob McCracken is the key. I don't know, but maybe it's the fact that Froch, how can I put it, didn't get to get to the heights what he thinks he should have got to. But maybe in hindsight, when he looks back on his career was very, very successful. But maybe he wanted that a little bit more, because I kind of get that sense as well when Lennox Lewis made comments about Joshua as well, and Joshua clapped back and called him a clown. There was bitterness there from Lennox because he wasn't lauded by the British public and the British boxing fans the way Joshua was. But the thing is with Lennox is he left the UK and came back, so the relationship was kind of like an estranged son, sort of like the prodigal son return. So British boxing fans didn't really know, you know, if he was foreign for a British, even though we know he was, but like because he spent a lot of his time away and boxed away as well, you know, he wasn't that like 100%. It's different when someone's born in the UK and they're based here, and you know, even if they have their own culture and their own traditions, but the British culture always takes precedence, because in some aspects in British culture you're going to relate to other people regardless of, you know, what ethnicity, what race or what cultural background they have. We have our overall British culture, so we have our own humour, banter, whatnot. But anyway, that said, with Lennox, him being away, that's probably why he didn't endear himself to the fans. So maybe he didn't get the love what he thought he should get, you know. But Joshua, he has had a lot of love, but now with success, when failure arises, you have to learn how to take that as well. So I think in a sense Froch is right. He does need to like take the criticism, because without the fans he wouldn't be where he is, and he wouldn't have made the money he's made. So it's a bittersweet pill to swallow, but at the end of the day he has to take it and basically take the medicine, because without the British boxing fans he wouldn't be the multi-millionaire that he is. He wouldn't be getting those Saudi deals, you know, he wouldn't be getting the money that he's boxing for. He wouldn't have got the DAZN deals. He wouldn't be boxing and promoting Under Armour and etc and etc. But anyway, in the next video we're gonna see what Froch has more to say regarding Joshua, and then we'll get back into it.
for money now. I don't think that's ever a good sign when someone says they're fighting for the money. I mean,
you're not the only one who's got doubts, though, because he was a bit spiky a couple of weeks ago, AJ, when he was suggesting that people on this radio station have maybe been disrespecting and overcritical. Why has he come out and reacted to that? And also, is that just an illustration that a lot of people, and it sounds like you included, are maybe frustrated that there's still unfulfilled potential there? He isn't the AJ of old.
Well, why is he being so sensitive? I mean, he's a big lad. He's a professional fighter, and somebody's got a bit of constructive criticism to put his way. He should take that, especially from somebody who's won 4 world titles and has recently been inducted into the Hall of Fame. So get that in there for a little minute. But the people that's given
we did celebrate that with you the other week.
No, we did. But what I'm saying is, it's no personal like vendetta against AJ. I mean, people have suggested that because he left Rob McCracken, which I've got my reservations about that. I think it was more of a mutual agreement. Rob maybe not wanting to work with AJ as much as AJ not wanting to work with Rob. So there's no problem. I want AJ to succeed. I want him to do well. It's good if we have a unified, undisputed champion in Britain. We don't want Usyk to take the belts away from our country. We want to keep him here. So whether it's Fury or AJ, I don't care. Let's keep the heavyweight boxing scene alive in Britain. AJ's got to be able to take some criticism on the chin when he's underperforming.
Is this him trying to create a siege mentality, a sort of me against the world, or is it actually a reflection that his mentality isn't as strong as maybe it should be?
Exactly. Showing a bit of like weakness there and being a bit sensitive. He needs to sort of like grow up a little bit and grow up here and show. I'm hoping that his recent remarks, because he said a few things about me actually recently, but whether we're going to that or not, I'm not too fussed. I can talk about that later with Spencer Oliver. But
what would you say in retort?
I think that because he's speaking out now and because he's having a go back at people and he's pointing out that people on TalkSport are a bit critical, I think that's good, because that might be in his head. He might be changing his mindset and having a go. Exactly.
I've got to get
so I'm going to show.
there.
I'm going to show these.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a go back at Froch. I'm going to have a go back at Spencer Oliver, and you know what I mean. The lads on TalkSport. Simon Jordan has had quite a few things to say, which I agree with everything he's said, and I'm not being.
Don't tell him that.
Well, no, exactly. but he speaks the truth. He's honest, and I like that. I like the Roy Keane style from the boxing. Just be honest and give your honest, critical opinion. And if people don't like it, then that's for them to try and change. It's nothing personal. This is never personal. This is sport. You know, we come from a boxing background. Want people in boxing to do well, but AJ needs to let his fists do the talking. Don't complain about people's opinions. Don't get upset. Don't get hurt by it. Just do the business in the ring and let your success speak for you. And then just bury all of us lot with a smile.
Yeah.
So that was Froch there with the TalkSport panel, and he gave his thoughts on a lot of subject matter containing Joshua, and it doesn't seem like he has an axe to grind, but there is an undertone that with the Rob McCracken comments and I think the disrespect, that there is something there, and I think it's more of a you throwing Rob under the bus kind of thing, because if I'm not wrong, when Joshua got arrested for selling Class A, it was Rob McCracken that actually got him out of jail time by giving him a character reference in court, and obviously persuading the judge that he's going to be a future Olympian. He's on the British GB team, and that got Joshua off the hook, basically. So in a sense, Rob McCracken, he does owe him a lot, and I think that's why he's been loyal for so long. But even Hatman from Hatman Strikes Back has mentioned that he should have left Rob McCracken a long time ago, because obviously we saw little incidents in Joshua's fighting style where he would get found out because he didn't do certain things. But I remember when he was training under Tony Sims, he actually fought a lot better. Now, for some reason, Tony Sims left Joshua, and I don't know why, what happened, but his fighting style changed over the next couple of fights after Tony Sims left, but he was actually technically sound and more defensively sound, and his combination punches and his attack when he would attack was spot on for a novice fighter going through the pro ranks, actually progressing. So we will never know anyway. And Tony, I don't think Tony's ever mentioned why he left, but anyway, people leave and then other people take over. So I think it's just a case that Rob, because he knew Rob and he's in that camp all the time, that he ended up just training him. So it's kind of the devil you know, devil you don't know. And to be fair, you know, Joshua has been pretty solid with the way he boxed and whatever, but I think for the size, the muscle, the way his mechanics are, maybe defense wasn't his strong point at that point, because sometimes you can get focused on your strengths and never work on your weaknesses, and then when you work on your weaknesses, it's only when you know you've actually come a cropper, like obviously with the Ruiz defeat, then you realize that you need other things that you need to work on. So sometimes it takes a slip up before you realize that you're not really sound overall in your fundamentals. But anyway, back to Froch. I think that's Froch's problem at the moment with Joshua, the fact that he had a go at Rob McCracken. But I don't know. Rob probably never wanted to coach Joshua in that sense of being a professional coach anyway, because he's always been committed to the GB team, and I think he's always mentioned that, and I think Joshua just kind of like went with it because he didn't want to rock the boat and because of loyalty. But obviously when you lose, you have to reevaluate things, and he reevaluated what he reevaluated and maybe realised a few things about himself and about the people that were training him. I don't know. But anyway, what do you think about the back and forth between Joshua and Froch? And do you think Froch is bitter? And do you think he has an axe to grind? And do you think Joshua was right to clap back and say what he said and express his opinions in this way? Because obviously he's probably fed up and had enough. And do you think that there is kind of a little bit of beef between the two, even though Froch said there isn't, and Joshua states certain things? Because body language, if you watch the last part of one of the clips, you could see when Joshua let on to Froch, it wasn't really a proper let on. Like when you meet someone, it was more of a kind of high and by thing, but like a derisory way of doing it, like without being derogatory or being offensive, but just casual but civil, if you get what I mean. But anyway, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want some more of this content. And that's another one from Knockout Legends. Peace.